Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Arun here, discussing with Nigel today on cash flow management in a crisis, how to deal with your bank during this crisis. Nigel, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Brilliant. Technology is working. We can't see you today, but we've got you loud and clear, sitting here in Surrey. And whereabouts are you, Nigel, again?
I'm in Wiltshire, near Bath.
Wiltshire. Okay, great. So we're going to be quite intentional, and we're going to today talk about how to deal with your bank during a crisis. Now, excuse any background noise. I've got children, I've got dogs, I've got everything all around the house. So if there's anything unexpected, my apologies. Okay. Now we're streaming this on Facebook Live as well. Hopefully that's working as well. And we're trying to use technology to the best of our ability. So please bear with us. So Nigel, do you just let's crack on with some slides. Let's kick this off. If it's going to work. Okay. So I've got a dog barking here. Sorry, bear with me a second. I'll let him go. So we've got the government support that's happening. Okay, now there's a whole raft of information that's been coming out quite rapidly over the last few days, and one of the aspects has been about the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan. Now, Nigel, do you want to share a bit more information about this? I've got some points there, but your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is a loan being provided by the government and via banks. There are 40 banks at the moment signed up to the scheme. Most of the major banks are on there, so well they should cover most dental people. The scheme is outlined in the slide. The idea is to provide you with a loan which is interest-free, capital repayment-free. The government are going to actually put an 80% guarantee on the loan for the bank. That doesn't rid you of any personal liability. I think that's worth explaining, that you will still be liable to repay that loan. If anyone fails to repay that loan, the bank will come to you first and not the government. So it is your responsibility to repay the loan. Now, what the banks are doing, slowly but surely, they are coming out with their detail. You have to remember the banks only got this on Monday. So, as usual, they're trying to get the information out to their clients. But they're all coming out, and they're all coming out with slightly different variations as they interpret their business interruption loan. So there are little things in there that you need to know. Now, the first port of call for you, if you want an interest-free loan or you want a repayment holiday on your existing facilities, is to go to your bank. They will provide you, hopefully from their website, with the details. We have some details of contacts, and they're all doing it differently. So you either email in, or you phone into a special number, or you contact your relationship manager. So you'll be worth looking at the website just to see which way they're doing it.
Yeah,
the idea then is that they will then help you, hopefully help you with either the interruption loan or an interest holiday or capital repayment holiday on your existing facilities, which should alleviate your immediate short-term cash flow problems.
Yeah, okay, if I could add a few further points here. So Nigel mentioned on our website, I think it's under day 7, we've got an updated list of all the lenders that are out there. So these, in terms of for payment holidays, so you can, how they're dealing with people who wanting a payment holiday, whether it's for a loan from a bank such as Lloyds or RBS or NatWest or Barclays, or also with your, if you've got asset finance, you can contact your asset finance provider. And so that spreadsheet we've got on our blog details your best way of approaching this. Okay. Now, bear in mind, this is a business interruption loan, and this is being managed through the government via the banks. Nigel, do you want to give a little bit of background to what you think this is going to happen, how it's going to work? Because based on, there was a previous loan called the EFG loan, and maybe you can just shed some light on how that process worked, and I assume this will be quite similar.
Yeah, this in effect replaces the EFG loan, which was the Enterprise Finance Guarantee Scheme, where the government guaranteed 75% of the lending. This is 80% and replaces that scheme. What you've got to remember here is that the banks do have an incredible number of customers, and especially the larger banks, the main 4 or 5 banks, they don't have the staffing that they used to have 5 to 10 years ago. And to be quite honest, my initial conversations with people are that they're quite overwhelmed with inquiries. So inquiries are taking some time. And this will also happen with the asset finance people, because obviously, again, they've got an incredible number of clients, and everybody wants to know what's happening with their own facilities. So this could take some time. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is that if you require a large amount of money, a large loan to sort of cover perhaps payroll, just the running costs of your business where it's closed, as the money steps up, the bank will require more and more from you. And it seems strange in this time when perhaps you have no income coming in, that they are going to want to look at your income. So they're going to look at your past income. They're certainly going to look at the past year's income. Some banks are doing a maximum of a percentage of last year's income. Some banks are looking at what the ability to repay debt servicing costs is from previous income. And you need to also explain to them how you're dealing with the virus, i.e. you're shut, you're perhaps doing emergency appointments only, but also how you expect to come out of this when the virus is hopefully cleared and people are out and about again, how you intend to reopen the practice and how you intend to sort of regenerate the income that you had previously. So they're not just going to give you the money. They may want quite a little bit of information from you, management information. You remember, they may have your accounts, but your accounts may be March last year. So they're almost a year, well, they're a year old now. April, March last year, they're a year old. So they may want some management information. They may want some projections from you, and they may want to see your business continuity plan.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. It's very helpful. So on that note, on our website, we've now got a draft business continuity plan template, which you can use. If you go to the pro bono services page, it's on there. I'll send a link out to that later. Okay. So in essence, timeline, Nigel, do you think how long, if someone approached their bank today, if they're an existing customer of a bank, how long do you think it would take to get a loan, say of 50 grand, 100 grand, that type of level? What do you think? What's your realistic timeline, do you think?
I would say you're probably looking at 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because of the sheer number, the volume that they're trying to deal with.
Okay.
And also, obviously, if you're a limited company, they're going to want a guarantee. Yeah. They're going to want a guarantee from you. So there's another step to be taken. They've got to send a document to you. You've got to sign it. You've got to send it back. So there's all those little steps that still need to be done. If you're really short of funds and you need short-term support, that really the banks are not going to be able to do that short-term. They might be able to give you a payment holiday. They might be able to ease the interest, but they're not going to be able to sort of just give you 50,000, 100,000 within 2 or 3 days at this point in time. Yeah. If you want that sort of help, you're going to have to look to other short-term lenders in the market.
Sure, and we'll come on to that in a second. Okay. Okay, and then in terms of other government support that's kind of been mentioned in the press and out there on HMRC's website, there's a few things that are happening, and I'm not going to go into details to these today because there's further webinars and blogs and stuff which I'll be talking about this later on in the week as more information comes about. But there is a small business grant which will be available up to 10,000. That will come from your local authorities, okay? Now, obviously, every local authority will be different in how they administer this and how they do this, but my suggestion is you contact your local authority, look on their website and see what they're doing in that. And so I've looked at our local authorities for our businesses, and to date, nothing's really much up there, just saying that they're dealing with this, but maybe other local authorities will be quicker to help with this £10,000 grant. The other very kind of big issue is employer support in terms of the coronavirus job retention scheme. Again, now the government's said last week that they'll guarantee up to 80% of employees' salaries for small businesses, up to £2,500. But again, and as long as the person is furloughed, now there's lots of talk about this, lots of discussion, but until we get the real detail, we cannot really give a conclusive plan of action for that. So again, we will watch out further for this, okay? In addition, people will have to pay tax mid-year. People who are not really relevant presenters, but VAT registered, who've got outstanding tax to be paid. It's essential that you contact HMRC's Time to Pay helpline, and again, all the details are on our website, to contact them and discuss a payment plan with them on a case-by-case basis, and they'll deal with it on a case-by-case basis. So the government are trying to help, okay. However, I know the wheels of government move slowly, and similarly, the wheels of banks move slowly. So whilst we want cash in immediately to pay suppliers, to pay staff, to pay rent, or whatever it may be, you might need some short-term finance help, whether it's an existing funds that you've got yourself, or from friends and family, or going to a third party to help. Okay, so certain tips to consider, and I've mentioned this all on our blog, but I just quickly touch on this now. What about immediate bills and wages that you need to pay? You will certainly need to contact suppliers if you haven't already, and ask them if they can be delayed. Some will be accommodating, some won't be. So again, on a case-by-case basis, contact your big suppliers and see what you can pay, and ask them for some time if possible, because again, no one knows exactly how long this period of closure or period of downtime will be. Landlords, if you haven't written to your landlord yet, or asked your landlord for some grace, again, do that. Our landlord's been quite accommodating in that instance for one of our practices, saying that, yeah, you can pay rather than quarterly up front, you'll just pay monthly, and maybe I could even ask for more. But what I'm saying is reach out to them. There's again a template on our website which you can use to contact your landlords, okay? However, as Nigel mentioned, you may need to raise finance sooner. And Nigel mentioned it may take a few weeks to get any of these loans that are coming from the bank. Personally, I think it might even take longer, my opinion. I just know, having spoken to my bank manager, he said it could take a lot longer, because he says that their back offices aren't set up. There aren't enough staff, and they're just trying to deal with their existing clients. And as of today, he'd only spoken to about 20% of his client base who needed funds. The remaining 80% he hasn't had a chance to talk to. So expect things to be dragged out, and expect this to take a little bit of time if the bank is going to support you with one of these COVID-19 business loans. But remember that you might not be eligible for this loan. Again, it has to be clarified, and I think you'll have to talk to your bank, because they might want to offer a loan on another format. So these things have to be considered. As Nigel briefly mentioned earlier, if you haven't already, speak to your lenders. And again, it's not just your business bank, but also any personal banks that you're dealing. So if you have a personal mortgage for your house or your home, or you have a buy-to-let mortgage for a property, ask them if they can do a payment holiday. So as I mentioned earlier, on day 7 of our blog, there's a full list of all the lenders out there who are working in the dental sector, which can certainly help with perhaps hopefully delaying payments and enabling you to improve your cash flow over hopefully this short period of time. But as I've said, banks move slowly. Now, in order to do some of these cash flow, to get these delays, okay, or the payment delays, or in order to raise finance, you may need to complete a cash flow forecast or do a cash flow template. And we've got a template on our website, as I said earlier, and I know a lot of people have used this already. Use it for your business needs, but also use it for your personal needs as well. You'll have other expenses in your life that you need to pay: food, children, all these types of things, all have a burden on your cash. And now at this time, cash is really, really important, because you need to make sure that you've got sufficient cash to ride out this wave. Now, with the support of your bank, with the support of your suppliers, maybe with the support of your landlords, you'll be able to get through this, okay? But it's not a time of putting your head down in the sand, but more importantly, trying to kind of make a plan and work. And if you've got a plan, the banks will literally hopefully support you during this time. Okay, next slide briefly. Nigel, I know you mentioned this briefly earlier, but in terms of short-term lenders, how do they work, and what kind of terms do they offer, and how easy is it to get it, and how long does it take, and just kind of things that people might be thinking about if they need to access this type of finance.
Yeah, there are many short-term lenders out there
Are you there?
at the moment, and they will lend on both an unsecured and a secured basis. Yeah,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, it depends what you want and how long you want it for. There are short-term lenders, and we use the word short-term, but they will lend for 3 to 5 years. But what you really require probably is flexibility, where while you're waiting perhaps for your main bank to come in and provide the support that you need, you may need an immediate boost on your cash flow. There are cash flow lenders out there, and Dan Fearon and I at the moment are talking to these people, just checking with them that they're still in the market, because obviously the main issue is the lack of income that you may now have. But obviously we're looking to them to look at your income in the past and also what your income will be in the future to show the repayment. Many of these lenders will roll up interest, so there's no interest to pay until the expiry of the loan. And many will do it on a very flexible basis. So you may take the facility for 6 months or a year, but if you wish to repay it in 2 or 3 months, then they're more than happy to do that. So there are a range of lenders out there, and we're more than happy to help source those if you wish us to do that for you. It's a minefield of the number of lenders, and also what your business will suit. The dental profession also has access to what are called professional loans, which is another form of short-term loan in effect. But that's lent purely on the basis that you are dentists or doctors or vets or pharmacists. And at the end of the day, because you're in a profession, they are more willing to lend to you based on past income. So what's important here is to make sure that you have your tax returns for last year, you've got your accounts for last year, and if you have got management information or can access it very quickly, bring that up to date and use that, because the more information you can provide to a lender, the probability is that they will be able to lend quicker. A lot of these short-term lenders, especially on cash flow, where they will lend purely against the business's performance in the past, they can lend in a matter of days. I mean, I've had discussions with these people and they promise hours, but let's leave it at days at the moment, because obviously they're going to be busy as well. You can also take out mortgages on your properties, on your buy-to-let, if you wish to do so. It takes a bit longer, but you can do that, take a second charge, and you can lend money to put into your business. It may be that at the moment in time, the cash flow that you need is purely to cover bills, but it may also be that you're looking, perhaps, while this period of closure is on, at refurbing the practice, or actually, looking to buy some new equipment. Now's the time to look online, obviously, and through the various suppliers to see what's available. Perhaps there might be some deals out there, as obviously there's going to be a bit of a slow in the market.
Yeah.
So we're here to help if we can. Dan and I are happy to talk to anyone if you just want to give us a ring or an email.
Yeah, thanks, Nigel. And I think just to reiterate, and this is something that myself and Nigel, and I suppose it's our grey hair. Nigel, perhaps you got a little bit more grey hair. You've seen recessions happen. How many times now? Was it? And
four recessions and a global meltdown. It's been an interesting career.
Yeah, and his experience of working with banks is decades long, so many decades, and I've been in the finance. Sorry, but I'm in the finance sector as well for a long time, and so I have to say that we're well equipped to help clients during this time, whether it's on especially on this financing side of things, along with obviously the accountancy side of things as well. And information is key. So getting this information to the banks or your lenders quickly will be key if you need that finance swiftly. We're here to help. Okay, we will be doing further webinars and Facebook Live events over the next few days and weeks, and hopefully this crisis will come to an end as soon as possible, but we're here to support in that respect. So has anyone got any questions? I'm just checking if anyone has any open questions they want to ask quickly before we wrap this up, and you can have everyone can get a quick bite to eat and then try and salvage their lives and their businesses during this time. Okay, any final thoughts from your side, Nigel?
Not really. I mean, I suppose my only thought really is act early, because the earlier you act, the more chance, one, you've got of securing the finance you need, and also making sure that the problems don't become real problems. And I think, get the information together and make sure you've got a good information base, and make sure you know exactly what you want. Because what you'll find with banks is that they'll be more than happy for you to approach them for finance. They won't be happy if you go back in 6 weeks' time and tell them that you got it wrong and this is what you need now. So make use of the cash flow forecasting tools. Make use of everything you can, accountants, Samera finance team, to make sure that your application that you put in is right first time.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Nigel. And I think keep positive, keep strong, and we're going to be keeping our blog going kind of on a very, very, very regular basis with information on there as more information comes out with our opinion and advice. Okay. We're trying to reach as many dentists or people in the dental profession across the UK as quickly as possible. So we think the blog's the best way to do that. If you think if anyone needs any help, please just lead them to the blog page. And as I said, there's a lot of advice and support we're trying to provide pro bono. So get in touch if you need any help. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. Have a good afternoon. Try and enjoy the sunshine whilst it is out around at the moment. And now I'm going to go for a walk to get some fresh air into my lungs. And take care. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.